Tawana Antoinette, and today we're going to be talking about the 5D 3D shift. So let's get into it. So I have wanted to talk about the 5D 3D shift now for a while, but there were still some things that I had to live through, and also I feel like I constantly hold the things back sometimes because I'm like, how much of this do I really want to share and be viewed as crazy? Like, am I in the mood to be viewed as crazy today? So I kind of held off on this for a while now, but I've been traveling the journey to ascending to 5D consciousness for a while now. I would say it started with an awakening I had, another awakening I had, because we have several, as spiritual beings, we have several awakenings throughout our lifespan. But it started with an awakening I had in 2019, and I realized that life started to feel different for me, but it started to feel different from the inside out. And I realized I started doing more and more research, and I realized that there was a consciousness shift coming, and what I was experiencing was the beginning of that shift to transition from the 3D reality to a 5D consciousness. And I kind of want to get into what is 5D, what is 3D. I'll make this video very, very simple because I appreciated it I appreciated information in terms that I could understand, very, very simple terms that I could understand. And so that's how I like to communicate to others. So what is 5D? What is 3D? What are all these Ds? So let's start with something called consciousness. We all have consciousness, and it's all within us. It's within the mind, within our third eye, within our minds. Where the idea is we're able to access different states or dimensions of consciousness based on how we think. So it's nothing external. It's not a physical place that you go or whatever. It's all in the mind, in how you think, how you're able to manifest things that you think. It all is within the mind. So there's consciousness, and within consciousness there are different dimensions of consciousness. So the ones that we'll be dealing with in this video are the 3D, 4D, 5D consciousness. The 3D consciousness is known as the physical space, like everything physical. And if you see me look at my phone, it's my notes. I always make notes for my YouTube videos because I want to stay on track, because we could go off on several tangents. So yeah, if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I have my notes. So the 3D state of consciousness is known as a physical space, a physical form. People are operating from a consciousness of what they can see. In the 3D, we identify with things like ego. We are more individual, so we have service to ourselves first and foremost. We operate in things like fear. We let specific things drive us to do or have desired outcomes, like, for example, money. We perform jobs for money instead of jobs for purpose or jobs that align with our souls. We tap into things like everything fear-based. So things like control, worry, envy, all of those things are all 3D perspectives to have. Let's move it along to 4D. Now, 4D is another level of consciousness. 4D, fourth dimension. Now, this covers a more fluid state. Many say that the 4D state is often associated with dream space, and there are some among us who have become very, very, very good at traveling dream space. This is where you start hearing about things like astral projection, This is where you start to expand your consciousness a little bit more, open your mind to dreams. You start to recognize the signs, symbols, and synchronicities in that space when you are in that dimension. So there are people, like I have a friend of mine who's, she's very, very, very well adept in the 4D consciousness space because she's been doing a lot of dream work there. This is another space where you get a lot more understanding of things in another, from another perspective, and probably things that have not even manifested in the 3D reality yet. These are symbols that you get. What else? This is also a place of remembering. This is where we connect sometimes with ancestors, with guides, etc. So that's another space. That's another space of consciousness. It's also a space that you go to like seek clarity. So that's why you hear people say if you set intentions before bed, you kind of direct your mind on what you want to dream about. You kind of get answers. If you're able to channel and set intentions before bed, you can channel where exactly you go and what answers you're able to get in dream space. So that's kind of the 4D perspective. Now moving it along to the 5D perspective, which is another level of consciousness as well. So the 5D shift is now where people, it's another level within the mind, another consciousness, another way of seeing this existence in life, where people are now centered more around things that are love-based, things that expand the soul consciousness, things that resonate with the soul consciousness. This is now where we shift from an individual perspective to a more united perspective, because we're tapping into the fact that we are a collective consciousness more, and that understanding is brought forth even more in this level of consciousness, because now people start to understand that in order to make certain strides as a human race, we need to be connected to each other in a way that helps us to unite so that we can manifest a reality for us all, or manifest a collective reality with all of our thoughts versus just the healers thinking this way, or just the sorcerers thinking this way, or just the whoever groups of people. The idea is that we come together as one collective consciousness and we're able to get more done in that way. Okay, great. So in the 5D, we also start to align more with spirit, the divine, God, whatever it is that you find this source to be, and not necessarily in a religious context, but more in a spiritual context. So you might have realized that within the past year, I would say throughout 2019, 2020, if you've taken a really, really good look at your friend circles and your friend groups, people have probably started acting a little bit differently. And not differently in a bad way, it's just probably some things that you never really knew about people have started coming out, because people have, if they have made the shift to 5D, or they are making the shift to 5D, you'll start to see them aligning with things that come from who they are at the core versus what society wants them to be. So now this would look like different interests. Now people are being more creative probably. People are changing career paths. People are resigning from jobs that they've wanted to resign from for years. People are aligning with their soul tribe. People are shedding friends. People are just being a different version of themselves that they've never really known themselves to be until this point. That's the shift. That's the shift right there. So another way of life in 5D is coming from a place of, remember I said we're all now united, we're all now thinking of things in terms of the collective consciousness. We're now in a place of offering, instead of individual satisfaction and individual outcomes, we're now in a place of realizing the value of being of service to others. So now you'll see more people stepping into service-oriented callings. More people will be stepping into their roles as healers. More people are now mathematicians. More people are now laborers. There are all of these people who are tapping into their specific role in the collective because they have a role to play in raising the earth's vibrations, raising the vibrations of the collective, helping everyone or as many people who want to make this 5D shift to be able to make it. So that's another aspect of 5D. We start to become a little bit more purpose-based too. So all of these things that people have kind of stifled for a really long time, like, oh, this is my purpose, or I feel like this is a passion that I have and I really like to do this, but I don't see how I could make money from this. Now you'll be seeing a lot more people find ways to make money from their actual purpose or their passions. This is a level of consciousness too that helps us to shed a lot of the masks that we've had and helps us to align with an authenticity within us that probably we have not been able to tap into for a really long time because we've been so deeply entrenched and so deeply rooted in the 3D reality, which we were operating from things like fear and ego and this and doing things to appease others, etc., which oftentimes leads us away from aligning with authentically who we are. All right. We also get into a place of sharing because then we realize that we're all connected in this way. So really, there's no truth that anyone can hold against you or no truth that anyone can use to hurt you. Information now becomes more free-flowing because we identify or the self in others, which I think is personally so beautiful to watch. And yeah, I think more people are seeking for universal knowledge because in 5D we all know that there's more, like there's more to this existence. More people are probably traveling a spiritual path. More people are tapping into things like past life regression therapy. More people are waking up to the fullness of who we are and stepping out of what they were taught to stepping into a truth that they make their own. So that's kind of in essence what 5D, 3D, all of these Ds are. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean for you? What does this mean for me? How can this help you? How do you know if you're living in 3D? Whatever. Let's talk about that. So, what is happening this year is astrologically, this is a portal that is being opened to a new shift of consciousness that Spirit, the Divine, God, Source is inviting us to step into. It's a new way of life that many people have been living for a while now. People have been living in the 5D space for a while. Some people are just stepping into making that shift. Some people are finalizing making that shift. Wherever you are on the continuum, we are in a space in time where we're actually witnessing a consciousness shift as a race. Like we're elevating in terms of how we think and how we are able to manifest in this human form on the earth. In the 5D, people start to realize that things, for example, like work, start to look different. Work now becomes healing yourself, healing others, healing your family, healing your ancestral trauma. Like that's some of the work that is involved. Now, work is shifted from a capitalist perspective to now what it truly is. On this earth's journey, we came here to mature as souls, to collect information as souls, to take back to the divine. That is why we are all gods in a sense, because we are a part of the divine. We are here just to collect whatever we need to collect in terms of experiences and go back for soul maturation and infinite evolution. So anyway, I'm coming off topic. 5D, 3D, all of these Ds are what's happening right now is people are shifting into a gateway where they get to experience life on a different level, and it all starts with basic understanding. So now people are understanding that for years what they have been tapping into is a way of life that they had the choice to, like, they could have shape shifted and done something else, and now they're taking the time to do that. For example, now instead of making money in a capitalist sense, people are now becoming a little bit more, like I said, into how can they flip their passion into something to sustain themselves and their family. Now we're shifting into, instead of us feeling as though we cannot have things in the 5D reality, I'm here to tell you that it is available to us to become so empowered that we start using our minds to attract things to us. I know this may sound far-fetched to some people, but trust me, if this sounds far-fetched to you, you probably need to hear this. You are probably a person that needs to do your research. There are people in the world who now, when they need something, they go in isolation to manifest it, because now in the 5D consciousness we have such control over our minds that we know that everything that we desire is just a step away from us. We just have to create it, and to create it you get really good at things like manifestation, mindfulness practices, meditation. So you sit with yourself, you visualize, you bring the thing to you, and you go out there and you put in the physical work to be able to for it to meet you in the 3D. Because even though we are shifting to a 5D consciousness, we still live in a 3D space. So the idea is tapping into this 5D level of consciousness to make your 3D space what you desire it to be. I hope everyone is still with me. So, in very plain terms, I remember a few weeks ago, just something simple that I wanted to manifest. I felt as though I was on a journey, or I've been on a spiritual journey for such a long period of time, and I've been able to teach myself so much, but I was ready to receive a spiritual mentor or guide. What that looked like for me was, okay, I know that I'm ready to receive this, so let me start doing the work to manifest who it is that serves me in this moment. Immediately, I go within. I go in my mind's eye. I start to see my coach. I start to see my mentor. I receive him or her with gratitude, and then I let it go and release it to the universe. Now, that's a whole nother process. I'll probably do another video on how to manifest, because there's a method to that. So, but you manifest that, and I manifested it, and it's been I think it's been like 3-4 weeks, and I finally received my spiritual mentor. And it was just very, very interesting how it all came together. But I knew that what I wanted was only one step away from me. All I had to do was just bring it into my mind, surrender it to the divine, put in the steps to get there, put myself out there to get there in the 3D space, because you have to meet your manifestations with actual work, however that looks. So for me, I knew it was probably putting myself out there to reach out to, or putting myself on social media, or putting myself in networking spaces to meet this person. Anyway, I ended up meeting her, and she was super, super gracious about mentoring me, and it just came together perfectly. It's actually somebody who I have known and who has been in my life, a very distant association, but it all came together perfectly. But that's an example of how you start to draw things into you. It's another energetical understanding, or another consciousness understanding, where you start to use your mind in a more powerful way, or how we were meant to use it. This is the last thing I'll say before I end this video. I'll probably have to make several parts of this video, or I'll make a series. But if you do not know about the history of us as humans, I urge everyone to go look at the story of Atlantis, because that was also a period in time when we were, as human beings, at another higher consciousness. We were still on Earth. So remember, I told you, the dimensions aren't a physical space to go be. It all starts in the mind. So we were still on Earth in Atlantis, and we, through the experiences with the Martians taking over Atlantis, we fell in consciousness, and that's how we fell to the 3D consciousness. So now we are really just graduating in consciousness levels to the 5D space. It's perfectly natural. So if you don't know about consciousness, I really urge you to go and watch the story of Atlantis. There's so many cool videos of Atlantis on YouTube that will really help you to understand consciousness in another way. But to sum things up, this is not new to us. We have always been supreme beings in terms of intellect and understanding. It's just that what we have manifested in this 3D plane has been bullshit. We've manifested things out of fear, and the manifestations on this plane now have become so toxic that they're now ruining us as humans, ruining Gaia as a planet. And so that's why we're making this shift now as a collective to 5D. So I hope this video is helpful. I will be doing a lot more videos like these. If you did like this video, I urge you to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment if you have anything or any personal experiences to add on the 5D shift. I would love to hear what that looks like for you in the comments. And with that said, I am gonna leave you guys now. Thank you for being here with me. Have a good day. Bye guys.